Ever wonder what your gun says about you? Well, you might be surprised. From Glock fanatics to high-point heroes, every brand tells a story. Some scream tactical ninja, others whisper backyard plinker with a dream. Today, we're diving deep into the hilarious, sometimes brutal truth behind 16 of the most popular gun brands. And trust us, no one's walking out unroasted. So holster your feelings, lock in, and let's find out who you really are. Glock, the Honda Civic of handguns. Reliable, affordable, and everywhere. If you carry a Glock, you're probably practical, efficient, and allergic to frills. You didn't buy it to show off, you bought it because it works. Rain, mud, dropped from a rooftop, it still goes bang. You've told at least 3 people that perfection isn't just a slogan, it's a lifestyle. Your range kit is minimal. Spare mags, a speed loader, and maybe a half-eaten protein bar. You don't care about fancy safeties or trigger shoes. You care about hitting center mass every time. Glock owners don't start fights, but they definitely finish them, usually while wearing cargo pants in quiet confidence. Smith & Wesson, the brand for folks who like their guns with a side of history and a splash of grit. You probably learned to shoot on a dusty old Model 10 your grandpa kept in a sock drawer. Whether it's a snub-nosed revolver or an M&P, your gun choice shows you respect tradition, but you are also ready for anything. You're the type who believes wheel guns never went out of style, and semi-autos are just a phase. Your cleaning kit's older than some people's Glock collection, and you still think blued steel is sexy. Smith & Wesson owners don't flex. They nod silently, grip tightly, and know deep down that 6 shots are all they'll ever need. But maybe you want a little more flair with your firepower, a bit of class with your combat. That's where Sig Sauer steps in. You didn't just buy a gun, you invested in precision. You've watched more tactical breakdowns than actual movies. And yes, you do refer to your pistol by its full name, the P226 Elite Stainless. You appreciate fine engineering, suppressor-ready barrels, and optics cuts that scream operator. Your gear is coordinated, your holster is custom, and your tactical belt probably costs more than your buddy's entire range setup. SIG owners walk with confidence and a slight superiority complex because they know they didn't settle. They selected excellence, and they want everyone to know it. But not everyone's looking to spend like a Navy SEAL. Some of you are balling on a budget with attitude. Enter Taurus. You didn't just buy a gun, you snagged a deal, baby. You walked into the shop, saw that price tag, and thought, how bad could it be? And to everyone's surprise, it runs. Mostly. Taurus owners are gamblers with grit. You're not afraid to roll the dice if it means saving a couple $100. You've got confidence, creativity, and maybe a backup plan. Just in case, you defend your purchase with the passion of a man who's read every Taurus forum post ever written. And deep down, you love proving the haters wrong. Now, if you're the kind of person who wants your gun to double as a blunt force weapon when you need it, you're probably packing a Ruger. This brand is the spiritual cousin of a cast iron skillet, heavy, reliable, and able to survive a house fire. Ruger owners don't mind a little weight on their hips if it means their pistol can stop a bear or a truck. You likely hunt, fish, chop your own firewood, and fix things with duct tape and stubbornness. You wear flannel unironically and think a revolver should weigh at least 2 pounds. You didn't buy your Ruger for looks. You bought it to last longer than civilization. On the flip side, some of you are sipping espresso while loading magazines. And that's where Beretta comes in. You're elegant, sophisticated, possibly European, or at least pretending to be. You didn't just pick a gun, you chose art. Beretta owners speak passionately about slide contours, balance, and how walnut grips complete the soul of the firearm. You're the kind of person who brings a microfiber cloth to the range. Function matters, sure, but form, that's everything. Whether it's the 92 FS or the newer APX, you didn't just show up to shoot, you showed up to impress. Next up is the CZ, the secret handshake of the firearm world. If you own one, you're not just a shooter, you're a connoisseur. You didn't go with a Glock or a SIG because that's what everyone does. You chose the Shadow 2 because it's built like a competition beast and looks like one too. You talk about DAC triggers like they're fine-tuned symphonies. And yes, you pronounce Česká zbrojovka like you just stepped off a flight from Prague. You're the guy who makes everyone at the range go gaga, and you love it. Because deep down, being niche just feels better. Then there's Kimber, the Bond villain of the 1911 world. If you carry one, chances are your safe looks like a mahogany humidor. You love sleek, polished steel, and you treat your gun like a showpiece, not a tool. It's not just about performance, it's about aesthetics. Your holsters, custom leather, your ammo's match grade, and your Instagram. Nothing but moody close-ups with vintage lighting. Sure, sometimes it jams, but you'll swear it's part of the mystique. Kimber owners don't just shoot, they pose, smirk, and say things like fit and finish with a glass of bourbon in hand. Now let's talk Springfield Armory, America in gun form. You probably started with a Hellcat or XD and never looked back. Why? Because they work. You like reliability, performance, and a good old dose of patriotism. You're not here to flex exotic brands. You're here to carry something that gets the job done. You might not be a firearms historian, but you'll still passionately defend your M1 Echo like it stormed Normandy with your grandpa. You've got solid aim, solid boots, and a solid understanding that sometimes the middle ground is the smartest place to be. Plus, you nailed Armory on the first try. Respect. Now, if your gun costs more than your first car and you treat it like royalty, you're probably rocking a Heckler & Koch. H&K owners are the perfectionists of the gun world. You didn't just buy a firearm, you acquired German engineering. You've watched every HK promo video like it's a Christopher Nolan film. You demand precision, reliability, and a design that looks like it came off a stealth bomber. You don't care if it's heavy, you call it solid. H&K people don't shoot for fun. They train, and they let you know they're former military adjacent. Then there's FN Herstal, the brand for those who want to be different, but still deadly. If you carry an FN, you didn't pick it by accident. You're a fan of innovation, exotic calibers, and polymer frames with a serious attitude. Maybe you've got a 5.7 and love explaining the 5.7 by 28 millimeter cartridge to strangers who didn't ask. Or maybe you just appreciate that FN makes military weapons and figured, good enough for them, good enough for me. You've probably dabbled in night vision, own tactical gloves, and have opinions about suppressors. FN owners are sleek, prepared, and just mysterious enough to keep everyone guessing. But if you own a Walther, you're classy, but quiet about it. You don't need to brag about your firearm because it speaks for itself. Smooth trigger, ergonomic grip, performance-tuned perfection, that's the Walther life. You're not flashy, but you're definitely precise. You probably started with a PPQ or jumped straight into the PDP and haven't looked back. You enjoy a clean design, a crisp break, and the subtle satisfaction of a German masterpiece that isn't trying to be anything but excellent. Walther owners are often underestimated, right until they shoot tighter groups than everyone else. You don't need attention, you need results. And that's exactly what your Walther gives you. Now, not every hero wears a cape, and not every gun comes with a 4-digit price tag. Enter High Point, the budget brawler, the underdog. If you rock a High Point, you're not here for style points. You're here because it works. Sometimes, maybe, but when it does, it's glorious. You're practical, unbothered, and oddly fearless. That brick-shaped chunk of metal in your drawer? It's been laughed at, memed, and roasted, but you still trust it, and that takes guts. You're the kind of person who buys a cheeseburger for $1 and somehow survives the night. High Point owners don't flex, they endure. And for that, we salute you. Ironically, of course. But maybe you've moved past the meme phase, and you're ready to punch above your weight. Welcome to Canic country. If you've got one, you didn't just buy a pistol. You made a statement. You want Glock performance, but I also like having money left over. Canic fans are sharpshooters with smart wallets. You care about trigger feel, slide cuts, and color schemes that pop like a sports car. Your gun looks fast just sitting on the bench. You're the guy who shows up at the range, drops tight groups like a pro, and casually mentions, yeah, it was only $400. Mechanic owners don't beg for attention. They earn it. Flashy, functional, and just rebellious enough to ruffle feathers. You're the future, one clean shot at a time. But sometimes you don't want new. You want timeless. You want the name that started it all. Q Colt, the original gangster. If you own one, you're carrying more than a firearm. You're carrying history. The kind of history that smells like gun oil, leather, and freedom. Colt owners don't just talk about reliability. They quote the founding fathers while field stripping a 1911 blindfolded. You believe every firearm should rattle just a little and still shoot straight as an arrow. Whether it's a Python, a Peacemaker, or that battle-tested AR, you chose Colt because some things never go out of style. You're not chasing trends. You are the tradition. And when your gun speaks, people listen. Because some names echo forever and Colt's still ringing loud. Let's bring it home with a bold choice. Mossberg. Yeah, that Mossberg. You know them for shotguns that can survive a war zone and a duck blind. But then they dropped a pistol, and you said, why not? If you own one, you're adventurous, loyal, and just a bit curious about what happens when a shotgun brand enters the handgun arena. You're the type who orders the mystery item on the menu and defends it no matter what shows up. Sure, the grip's a little weird and the slide feels like it skipped leg day, but hey, it still goes bang, right? Mossberg pistol owners live on the edge, with a manual safety and a prayer. And that's a wrap on today's wild ride through the gun rack of personalities. If this video hit the mark, or at least gave you a laugh, go ahead and pull the trigger on that like button. Subscribe for more sharp takes, hot brass, and content that always shoots straight. Thanks for watching, stay locked and loaded, and we'll catch you in the next one.